Thank you very much, guys. All hear me at the back, everything? I'm new to this public speaking gig, so bear with me. Also, I don't know anyone here. I know you, obviously, a few people from passing on LinkedIn chat. Rachel and I, we met about 2 weeks ago over the phone. So I really feel like a stranger in this room. So do, try and make me feel a bit welcome, because I'm nervous.
Johnny, because he spoke at the last.
It was. I keep just saying yes, like that film Yes Man. To say yes, yeah, go on then, I'll speak to that person. Here I am on this stage without being vetted, so who knows where it will go. Also, we're talking about notes over, me and Abby, and I just realised that so often we all just come up here with obsolete things in our hands just to help us talk. And this bit of paper has beef written on it. So those are my notes. I'm going to start with a quick... that is literally my notes, beef. Next time, chicken, maybe. I've got some things in here. What I want to start with is a quick spoiler alert. I turned out all right. I'm still alive. That's the spoiler alert. I am married. I have 3 kids. I live in Sevenoaks. It's all very middle class and boring. But what someone once said to me was, "Oh, you seem to have your ducks in a row. Why do you have mental issues?" And I say to them that, and I nicked this line, I know, but it's like, I don't have ducks or a row. I have squirrels, and they're everywhere. That's basically how my brain feels. So to start from the beginning, I grew up in South East London. I grew up in a single-parent household around lots of what I thought at the time was just great noise and colour and life and energy, and we were the centre of attention. I thought we were the centre of the known universe because we had exciting parties and everyone just seemed to be off their head all the time. And I was the youngest of the 3, and it was brilliant. No dad around to tell me off. I could do whatever I wanted. I used to show off in front of my mates about how I could always have girls back, and I can take drugs very close to where my mum is, and even share a spliff with my mum. Oh my God, I was the envy of all my friends. There was no discipline. I had the best life ever. Obviously, you all know that is not the best life ever. And I'll give you the short story because I know we're in a bit of a time. But when I was 17, I got into drugs really heavily, from young, before 17, but at 17 years old, my nan came round to our house. It was the day before Christmas Eve, and I was in a drug-induced coma, basically, on the floor. I used to take everything under the sun. And again, I like to start with the sort of, not shock jocks, sort of snapshots, but I think it helps sometimes to work backwards. It certainly helps my brain. And so that sort of early beginning, I used to, and up till very recently, I used to believe all of that was the reason for my problems. It was all to do with nurture only, and it was because I was neglected and because of all these things. And I just love, by the way, hearing what Rachel had to say earlier as well, just about how, all those myth-busting and the good sides. It's so encouraging. It's just brilliant being here, by the way, listening to everyone. Just feel at home, don't you? And so there I was in this house. So we used to have house parties. My bedroom, which, with my kids now is a place of sanctuary, a place where we respect peace and routine and shut up and go to bed, that sort of stuff. And, that all the things I didn't have. My bedroom when I was a kid used to be turned upside down. It was the furniture dumping room. There'd be house parties every weekend. My mum, bless her, was an alcoholic. Well, you might say she is an alcoholic. People who are alcoholic say they are forever, even if they've not had a drink for 30 years. I think it's quite helpful in the addiction programme. And so I'd often just come downstairs when things were scary and be met by mum, who is slumped over the sofa at 8 years old or whatever. And so I just felt like I had no one to go to. And just terrifying anxiety came out of that. But one thing that has got me through, and the one reason I, have a bit of money in my back pocket today is purely because I could sell. So it was like that was my thing, right? And that's why I started a shop. I decided, let's see where this goes. I'm always doing a million ideas. So if you're wondering how the hell has he kept down a career, it's because I sold raffle tickets at my dad's theatre show when I was a kid. And he went, "Oh, no one's ever sold that." I was selling tickets to people who didn't want to come to the show. People who were, "I don't really make it off. Why is your kid attacking me with the raffle book?" That was basically what I just love, like selling and winning people over and making people see my point of view. And now I'm doing that for this space. So I've got my sales career, that's all over there, fine. But this is really what gets me out of bed in the morning. I'm really grateful to stand up here and talk to you all. Because I just one thing led to another, saying yes, and literally only met Rachel 2 weeks ago because I keep doing a gig, talking on a podcast, being a founding member of that bit, being asked to be an ambassador of that. It just keeps happening, and I don't really get stuck and hung up on those bits. It's just cool to meet individuals, and I've had some amazing chats today with some of you in the room already. So going back to that, one of those sort of snapshot moments I mentioned earlier, where it went from there. Right, so grew up in this household where clearly it's not healthy for a child to be raised in. Absolute madness, chaos, didn't know where I was coming and going, didn't have any discipline, and yeah, wasn't going well. My nan then took me a bit of a family intervention to my aunt and uncles, totally different. So they were always the square lot, we were like boring. They were like actually great to be with that lot because it was routine and love and care and kindness and all this sort of thing. And I spent some time with them for a bit and realised, yeah, that was a T-junction moment. Could have ended up really bad. Could have ended up dead, could have ended up in prison. I was in trouble with the law a lot. It's great hearing Mark. Wasn't Mark brilliant, by the way? Just got to say, absolutely amazing to hear his story. And some of the guys he was dealing with was my story for a bit. You know, in that thrill-seeking zone I was in, took my sister's car out when I was 15 and dinged it into a car. I was actually quite a good driver. Shouldn't have been doing it. I'm not justifying it. But dinged it into a car down our local road and thought, shit, trying to reverse, got a little panic. And I thought, oh, hopefully this person's okay. That person worked for the Crown Prosecution Service. So it was just my luck. I've always been lucky. It's probably a good thing. I wasn't allowed to drive until I was 20, and even after that, insurance firms were just like, I'm not going near him with barge pole. A quick bit about school as well. Maybe many of you can relate to this. All my school reports said, for the first 10 minutes, Jack is an amazing student. And then he goes missing. And it'd be either ruining someone else's clay statue over here or like poking someone over here, see what they'll do next. How many of you have spent time outside a headmaster's office? When you were kids, obviously. That'd be weird otherwise. Only a few of you. Oh, that's rubbish. I'll move on from that then. I was out there all the time. And it was just, became my school memories. So in the end, I gave up. Well, sod that. No one loves me at home. No one loves me at school. Turn my back on the world. So then going back to this nan intervention, I started seeing different friends. It's like, oh, this is right, this is better. Families that are just like, sit at the table while they're eating, or all that sort of basic stuff we might take for granted. I can't even think of some of the other examples of normal life. That's weird, I'm a dad. But in those moments, I decided to take a bit of a change direction, if you like. And I met my now wife, Liz. I never thought I'd be the marriage type. And I'm not really anymore. I think our relationship's way more than just a wedding ring. And I've talked to I've got 3 girls, by the way. And I love being a dad, by the way. I'm not one of these guys who goes, yeah, Dad, I'm not going home to that. I love getting home, reading them stories. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. So, in all of that, it's just, play Game of Life. Anyone's played Game of Life before? Not the 80s version, not the one that came out recently. You have to get married in that game. There's a junction where you can't go past unless you get married. So I'm all sorts of rebellious with that now. Because I don't want to, also because I have to pay for the wedding. You get where I'm going with that, with the old system. So there we go. So then the next sort of 18 years passed. I'm just going to rush that bit through. And like I said at the beginning, my ducks were in a row. I was sorted, right? I left that abusive, chaotic, unbridled childhood. I'm now married, I've got kids, I've got a mortgage, all these really amazing, it's all the things I wanted to aim for and I believed were stability. So why then did I keep slipping back into crisis and keep slipping back into secret drug binges or other thrill-seeking behaviours, and then the endless spiral of self-loathing, self-hatred, guilt, that I was no good for my family, for my brilliant, innocent, lovely wife, who's the total opposite to me, which is a great thing, and my 3 brilliant, beautiful girls, and I just started to believe that I was no good for them, and it was, spent less and less time at home. I'd be out till the middle of the night. Someone mentioned earlier, I think short about the nighttime gave a new world, a new escape. That was my world for a bit, and I slipped back into that, and I was living a double life again. And it all came to a crunch in 2019 when I had a series of panic attacks, absolute chaos, lost bodily functions. I won't go into too much detail. I was just in bits, and my wife Liz has just been a rock to me all this time. I was just like, why can't we just get through this one? She always knew I was up and downs, ADHD all over the place. And I went into work, and I was just like a shadow of myself, basically. And the mental health first aid at work at the time, well, it turns out she's the gold standard, and you don't get many people like this because she just went above and beyond. Just when, we'd been talking anyway about my medication, and I've been on antidepressants for ages, which sent me spiralling out of even more control. It's another story entirely. Just when I'll get you in front of a psychiatrist, and I was like, well, our insurance doesn't cover that. And so I was really lucky to be able to have insurance anyway, because I know so many people don't have that opportunity. It's so expensive and so time-consuming to even to see a psychiatrist. So I went to see one that following week. She just said, whatever it takes. She called up the phone, was like, get him in front of one, real above and beyond stuff. And he looked at my reports, he looked at all the history, and he looked at the recent stuff they'd been doing, which was just taking months and dragging on. The one thing we haven't got an abundance of is patience, let's face it. And he just went, you've so clearly got ADHD. I really relate to Paul's story from this morning. I'm sure some of you can, about how like you've got an extreme case of it and you've been missed all along this way. And yeah, it could have meant the worst for me, but fortunately, little T junction, still had the problems, and now it's like I am medicated. I do take medication for it. I talk about this stuff publicly just because gosh, I like to talk a lot. And I think that's just like a lot of people message me going, it's great you have the bravery to do that. I'm not brave, just that's what I do. I talk a lot. I've always made a career out of that. And everyone's got a part to play in it. Whether you like to talk a lot or you just like to talk to no one, you've still got a part to play in raising it, like smashing the taboos, talking about all the benefits that Rachel talked about, and just making it feel normal, because normal is not real, didn't exist anyway, and all of that's bollocks anyway. And the fact we've tried to live in that world has been really detrimental. Well, Rachel said earlier, our self-esteem's taking a battering. Yeah, how many people here, just really quickly, feel their self-esteem has taken a battering because they've had to live in another mould for most of their life? You know, that's too many. That's an alarming percentage of us just in this room. So that's why I'm passionate about this stuff. So many presentations I've done talking about advertising or metrics, rubbish. Right, this is the stuff that I really want to just spend the rest of my life using my hopefully gift in talking to just smash taboos, make it feel normal, make that individual who's going, Christ, I'm never going to get through this. I've just one more crisis. I'm an idiot. We talk to ourselves like we wouldn't talk to our worst enemy. That's the sort of stuff I want to break. And in talking, it helps me selfishly as well. So this is like therapy for me. But I guess the thing I want to leave you with is that, you know, even though it's so hard to just keep going with these endless forms we've got to fill out, and you can't do that, and then the doctor who's cynical about that, and then every time there's always a barrier or a no or a scepticism. It's just don't give up, because if I can keep going, you definitely can. And I love the one-on-one chat. So find me on LinkedIn. That seems to I've got rid of social media and news apps ages ago, but that seems to be on a rabbit on a lot about. So find me on that, or come and get my number. I love talking to everyone from Postman Milkman to groups of you, apps, all that sort of stuff. I'd love to hear more.